What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back in the video. It's Monday, so time, and it's time for the Mock Draft Monday. We are going back to Fantasy Pros. You guys have said you prefer the Fantasy Pros draft. Also, we had a little update in the comment section. Local hero said that we should check the composite ADP box instead of the expert rankings. I guess the expert rankings just aren't as good. We will see. I checked just the first round under this, so I have no guarantees after that, but it does look like they are finally taking wide receivers. If I check composite ADP and I boost very high to wide receiver, it looks like we will get wide receivers early and it will be more accurate. So fingers crossed we're going to get a good one this week. We will randomize the position, but we don't want a mid one because we keep doing mid ones. If it doesn't give us something at the polls, either early, all right, second. We'll take second overall. Full PPR, snake draft, obviously. We're going to take away the flex. We've done a few in a row. I think we had 2 flex or like 3 wide receivers. We're going to go back to a classic. 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, and I don't know, like 7. We'll put 7 bench spots. I feel like this is the most common setup that people play in. Again, composite ADPs. We want quarterback and wide receiver going high. They are just going high right now. And we want rookies on high as well because people like to reach for rookies, especially in like hometown leagues later in the draft. We want to make sure we don't get crazy value. So starts off good. Jefferson, first overall. That is what I have in the rankings. I think it's what most people are going to do, either Jefferson or McCaffrey. I don't think we should analyze this one too much. If you don't take Jefferson, take McCaffrey. If you wanted to go with Jamar Chase at that spot, that's totally fine to do as well. So a ton of wide receivers go off the board. Very nice. Ending the first round, let's say. We'll do the first round here. Chase, Hill, Kupp, Kelsey. We've actually talked quite a bit about how that is a very common top 6. Diggs into 7th, Eckler 8th. I think that's a pretty clear top 8 players. And then a bit of a break. Really, after that, it's going to depend on where do you want to take Bijan. Do you want to go with wide receiver? That's what happens in the draft. It goes A.J. Brown, then Bijan, then CeeDee Lamb, and Garrett Wilson. So that is a very, very accurate first round. Okay, so we're looking good right now. Second round, Amon St. Brown, Adams, Taylor, Waddle, Barkley. Then a little bit of a drop-off after that, so that's accurate as well, into Chubb, Devonta Smith, Olave, Pollard, and T. Higgins. That is easily the most accurate we have seen for a first 2 rounds in these mock drafts. So whoever made the comment, raise your hand. This very much better start for this one. But we will see where the quarterbacks go. That's an important one. The quarterbacks need to still go early. But we are not taking a quarterback in the end of round 2. Round 3 is when we want to start attacking the quarterback position. It's also too early for Mark Andrews. I really like Mark Andrews, but I would prefer to get that in round 3. Tight end round 3, quarterback round 3. I want to really focus on running back and wide receiver in these first 2. Looking at wide receiver, probably would have gone with any wide receiver that has been drafted. After T. Higgins, we do see that drop off. I do not want to take Keenan Allen, Metcalf, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Debo, like all great players. I'm not taking them in the second round. So kind of by default, we should just go with our top ranked running back. Right now, top ranked running back is Josh Jacobs, just a hair ahead of Ramondre Stevenson. Obviously, we have the holdout situation potential for Josh Jacobs. And then we've got that little report about Zamir White being like, oh, well, you know, he's probably going to get more carries this year. Listen, there's also been reports that the staff just does not like Zamir White. And I don't even remember who the other backup is. But basically being like, there's a very big gap between Josh Jacobs and those running backs. If he's there, he's probably going to have a season very similar to last year where he dominated. I just feel a little bit better about Jacobs. But if you wanted to go with Stevenson at this pick, I think that would be totally fine to do. Stevenson also going to be really, really good this season. So after that, Stevenson goes and Henry goes. And we're also started off McCaffrey and Jacobs. It's a very, very strong start. But remember, optimal is typically 2 running backs in the first 5 rounds. We have McCaffrey as well. So we really don't need to take a running back for a very long time at this point. We can just take these 2 and kind of coast. And that's good because we look at the running back position. Well, Breece Hall should be dropping in drafts. We really just don't know when he's going to be 100% from the knee injury. This is too early, in my opinion, for Najee Harris, for Etienne, Aaron Jones, Mixon, Ken Walker. It's like none of these players should be going at the beginning of the third round. That's just a little bit too early. I think our decision really does come down to, do we want to attack tight end or do we want to attack the quarterback position? Obviously, Mark Andrews will not be there at our 4th round pick. I have said many times how much I like Mark Andrews this season. I think Baltimore is going to be a very high upside offense, not only weekly upside. I think they could just dominate like in all areas of the game this season. I think they're going to be a very, very, very good offense. Andrews was productive in a dreadful offense last season. I just think he makes a lot of sense to make it this pick. And also at quarterback, I feel like we're going to have more chances to hit. Maybe one of like, Burrow Fields is kind of there in round 5. Maybe we can get Herbert in round 5, or I meant round 4 for that one. Round 5 potentially for like Justin Herbert. But like every single round, there's going to be someone we can maybe look at. If we pass on Andrews, we'd be hoping for Hawkinson at the next round. But then it would really be kind of waiting for Pitts, waiting for Waller, and then just nobody. I feel like we just build a lot of upside, especially in full PPR, getting Andrews here. And again, I just don't feel confident enough in these wide receivers to take them this early. So a very, very long explanation for why we are taking the top player in my rankings, ranked at 20. We are at 26, Mark Andrews. So we will draft him. Nice. Okay. This is very, very accurate. I love it. 3rd round, after we pick Mahomes, Metcalf, Jalen Hurts, Breece Hall, Josh Allen, Keenan Allen, Najee Harris, Debo, Gibbs, Etienne. Beautiful. 4th round, leading up to our pick. Ridley, a good value on Ridley with that pick. That's a very strong start. Again, you guys know I don't love Etienne. Like if he had gotten Gibbs at that pick, that would have been awesome. But the 12 team here gets Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Calvin Ridley at wide receiver with Travis Etienne at running back. But again, 4th round, Ridley, Lamar, Amari Cooper, Mixon, Hopkins, Watson, Judy, Ken Walker, Aaron Jones, and J.K. Dobbins. Nice to see them come off the board because, again, we're really just not attacking running back at this turn pick here. So we have a few options at quarterback. The top quarterback I have is Joe Burrow, a little bit ahead of Justin Fields. We're at pick 47. I have Burrow at pick 44. So good value. I wouldn't say it's anything crazy, but good value. At the wide receiver position, it doesn't look like I have anyone ranked in amazing value. My top player is Drake London at 47. So this is exactly where I think he should go off the board. And that would still make him like a pretty good pick at this spot, especially since like we do need a wide receiver, obviously. I like Sanders. I like Dameon Pierce. I don't think I would take them this early. And again, we don't need the running back position. So it really comes down to, do we want Joe Burrow, who would be our top ranked quarterback at this spot? Do we want Drake London, our top ranked wide receiver? Probably nothing else. We do see Hawkinson still on the board. That is probably a function of me telling the computer, you got to draft quarterbacks, you got to draft wide receivers, and then being like, well, I can't draft everyone, so we're going to have to drop one player. But obviously, this is a really good value for Hawkinson. I think on Underdog he goes at 50, so it's not like anything crazy. But I think it's a good value for Hawkinson. Some people don't like him very much this season. I love him. But yeah, it would have been good value. We're obviously not taking him there. So who's more likely to get drafted? Looking at the draft board, this team here, there's only going to be 2 picks before ours. Because, we would basically like to go Burrow and Drake London. If you look at their ADPs, technically Burrow is like way further back. So he should still be on the board. Plus, this person only has the 1 wide receiver. Maybe a little bit likely they want that 2nd wide receiver. So I think just that and the fact that, we definitely want Drake London on the team. Very, very good player. I feel like people underrate him because he was obviously a very highly rated prospect coming out of college. He had a really, really good rookie season. My model that looks at production pre-draft and then looks at year 1 production still really, really likes him. Even, it was a good year, but obviously he didn't have 1,000 yards like we saw with Olave, saw with Garrett Wilson. You look at, Olave and Garrett Wilson, obviously the best bets in these year 2 wide receivers to produce, but we're in the end of round 4 and those guys go, Wilson went in round 1, Olave went in round 2. that's where they go. Like, this is a good discount on a player who is very good. I don't think people understand just how good he is. So we will take him because I think there's just a little bit more risk that he would come off the board. And he may have, because Terry McLaurin gets drafted, and then Miles Sanders goes. Again, good for us because we did not want running back of these picks. My gut tells me we can do better than the Burrow pick. And I know, like, I don't have Godwin as some, like, amazing value right now, but the top ranked player in, like, the low 50s, we're at 50, so that's not too bad. I just think our team turns out a little bit better with Godwin. I think they'll be around where, because we want one of Burrow, Fields, Herbert, Lawrence, Watson. Like, I would prefer that. But even if I don't end up with that, like, I'm fine with Kirk Cousins, fine with Geno Smith, and I think someone at some point is going to be better value than this. But if we miss out on wide receiver again, we might be looking at a gross range for wide receiver 2. I think that'll be a bigger negative to our team. So I think the better move here, take Godwin, see what's available in future rounds. Unfortunately, my goodness, a huge run looks like just happened at quarterback position. Big run at tight end, which makes sense. That was kind of being held off for a while. But great to see, obviously, a run at tight end. We already have one. So after our pick, Hawkinson, talking about tight ends that went in the next, like, basically 2 rounds, basically go by after our pick here. Hawkinson, Kittle, Pitts, Goddard, and Waller all off the board. We see 4 quarterbacks: Burrow, Fields, Herbert, Lawrence, 4 that we wanted with this next pick. They're gone. A lot of wide receivers, which is good that we locked up Chris Godwin here. Kirk, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Marquise Brown, Ayuk, Pittman, Deontay, Lockett, and JSN all come off the board. And then only Madison and Dameon Pierce, 2 good running backs, come off. So, at our next pick, I think we can look at running back. Before, it was like, there's no way we should take our 3rd running back before locking up that 2nd wide receiver. Now that we have both, I think it's okay to look at the position. And I did move up. I want to see where it is. Yeah, I moved Cam Akers up in the rankings. So now he's top player for the running back position. I don't think it's sharp for us to go with quarterback. Dak, Watson, Tua, Daniel Jones, Cousins, Smith. Even if we miss out on that, Rodgers, Goff, heck, Russell Wilson, Anthony Richardson drop off into Stafford and Derek Carr. I think there's enough options to where probably not the best to pick first among this group. We just missed out on pretty good value at the quarterback position. Taking one here, no. So we're not going to take quarterback with either of these next 2 picks, and we're not going to take a tight end either. So I'm thinking that Cam Akers should probably be one of our picks, and I'm thinking we should probably just alternate, take a wide receiver and a running back, have 3 of each of them, feel really good about the 3 that we have the upside in those picks. For wide receiver, I'm wondering, I have Mike Evans like lower than I feel like I should have him, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't know. It feels like Mike Evans is a very, very good player, and I don't know. I just feel like I'm kind of undervaluing him this season. The top players I have in the rankings are Addison, Burks, and Mike Evans, it looks like. So, you know, Dotson's probably right after. Yeah, Dotson's right after Mike Evans. So exactly basically how they have this, just, you know, with small projection changes. Like if we look at the difference, Mike Evans at 188, Addison 7 points higher than that. So over a full season, 7 total full PPR points, not a big difference. Because Addison goes a little bit later, I guess theoretically there's a chance that he'd be available at our next pick. It's probably not going to happen. But I don't know. I feel like I have Evans lower than I probably should. And if he's ever very close to being the top player, whenever that happens, I like to lean towards him. It's like a weird thing where it's like, if I know that I am probably under projecting a player and then they become right at the top of the rankings, I know that if I'm wrong, I'm probably not wrong in that I'm under projecting him and he's even worse than my under projection. It's probably that he exceeds my projection. So whenever they become the top player, you should definitely be taking them. So I feel like the move is to go Cam Akers, then to go with Mike. Oh, I forgot that there was a turn there. And there goes Mike Evans. Well, I was going to take Mike Evans with that pick. But again, there's other wide receivers I like, so it's fine. But yeah, Evan Ingram and Mike Evans go. But I think the right move was to take Cam Akers. Theoretically, in our minds, maybe we should have looked at Chenault number 5 here and been like, well, less likely that they take a running back, so maybe we should have gone Evans and then Akers, but it's okay. So we can take either Addison or Treylon Burks. If I'm thinking about who has more upside, probably Burks, because he's obviously the number 1 on the team. Addison is behind Justin Jefferson, way more passing volume on the Vikings. Theoretically, we do have the risk that DeAndre Hopkins signs to the Titans. At this point, I have no idea where he's going to sign. It could be the Titans, it could be the Patriots, it could be a team that we don't even know at this point. It's probably going to happen, I would imagine, like early July, like a little bit before camps open. I don't actually know exactly when camps open, but I think that's like mid-July. I think he signs a little bit before camps. So we're not going to know yet, but I feel like a little bit more upside in Burks, and maybe where's Addison in? So Burks is here at 81. I don't think Addison will be there though, because there's I guess we should just play the ADP game, but just telling them take rookies early, take wide receivers early. I don't think he'll be there, but I guess he's more likely than Burks to be available at that pick, and he's not, but that's okay because I see another name that we're in love with taking. So, oh man, a lot of running backs come off the board, which is, again, fantastic news for us. When we're in a spot where we're not looking at running back, we want that to happen. It looks like 12 running backs go in this next 2-round range. Swift, Dalvin Cook, White, Pacheco, James Conner, David Montgomery, Javonte Williams, James Cook, A.J. Dillon, Charbonnet, P. Ryan, and Alvin Kamara. And then a lot of wide receivers, no quarterbacks, no tight ends. So good on us not taking one of those positions. Tony, Addison, Dotson, Pickens, Gabe Davis, Quentin Johnston, Dalvin Cook, and Rashad Bateman. So we were in the exact same spot we were in at the quarterback position, where they're all still on the board. We are in the late 8th round, pick 95. Watson definitely is interesting at this pick, but it's Watson and like Dak Prescott are probably the two that I'd want to be looking at here. I'm also looking at Elijah Moore. Definitely the top wide receiver that I have in the rankings. Running backs, there doesn't look like anyone that I really want, and we're definitely not going with a backup tight end at really any point in this draft. So who's more likely to get taken? I mean, Team 1 does not have a quarterback yet, and so that definitely concerns me. Technically, Dak is higher in the ADP, so he's more likely to be drafted. And if we look at Elijah Moore, way down here. So I guess the odds are better. I think it's a 50% chance that Watson gets taken at this turn here. I think it's a less than 50% chance that Elijah Moore gets taken. So let's try for the stack. Let's take Watson. He goes Dak Prescott. So we would have ended up taking a quarterback. I think we got lucky there that they didn't take Elijah Moore, because that is a phenomenal pick. Also on this is not an Underdog sponsored video or anything. I put out a page that has all the season long props. They're like they're pick 'em basically. So they do projections for the full season. I don't remember exactly what it is for Elijah Moore, but I think it's around like 600 yards. I basically ranked all of their projections, their highers and lowers, for what I prefer, like best to worst. And Elijah Moore is right at the top. I think he's going to have a really good season. I think his projection is far too low. So if you are doing season-long pick 'em on there, take the higher on Elijah Moore. Anyways, let's take a gander at our team. We haven't said that in a while. So we have our starting lineup figured out. It is Deshaun Watson, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Drake London, Chris Godwin. I had forgotten that I had taken Chris Godwin when I was thinking about Mike Evans in that pick. Definitely would not have taken Mike Evans if I had remembered that I took Chris Godwin. which is why we should always be checking back to our team. You just wouldn't want to invest because there is a chance that they just stink, that Baker stinks, that Trask stinks, that they're just a terrible offense, and you wouldn't want to take both of their wide receivers. So unless you're on like Underdog or something, you're stacking it. But you in a redraft league, you would not want to take both of them. So good thing, honestly, they took that player. Mark Andrews at tight end. Cam Akers in the flex, although it'll depend on matchup, whether we're playing Cam Akers, Traylon Burks, Elijah Moore. Those are 2 bench options. So we've got 5 more spots on our bench, and then we will have the 1 defense in our final pick. We have 3 running backs. We have 4 wide receivers. We're probably even on value, given that we started off with 2 running backs. So not a lean towards either one. We have our quarterback. We have our tight end. I'm feeling very confident in this build. Top players for running back: Jamal Williams, Algier, Singletary, Wilson, Mostert, Foreman, Gainwell. I mean, I like Gainwell. I like Warren, but there's a number of running backs we can get a little bit later on. I know that many of them are rookies. They will take rookies early. I don't think it makes sense to do running back at this pick. We feel very good about McCaffrey, Jacobs, and Cam Akers. I think we should let's double dip at wide receiver, keep attacking that position. We want 2 players with upside. On Underdog, we would be leaning weekly upside with this pick. For this, we're not necessarily doing that because it's a season-long league. We need to actually start these players, right? On Underdog, it's best ball. We're looking for those spikes because it's going to automatically set our starting lineup each week. In redraft, you got to do it. And if we're drafting players who are super up and down, we're not going to really know who it is. So we want season-long upside at this point in the draft. To me, honestly, we're looking at Gallup. We're looking at Romeo Doubs, 2 that could really command a solid target share on their teams. 2 players who I think they are very, very good. Donovan Peoples-Jones, and we want to go all in on Cleveland, but I think it's a little bit too early to do that. Plus, we already had Elijah Moore. We prefer Elijah Moore as the one that breaks out. I think Nico Collins could, step up as the number 1 wide receiver for Houston. Rondale, I guess, but I would still prefer Rondale behind Doubs and Gallup. I think I would very much like this build if we took Doubs and then we took Gallup. Like, I just want to lock those 2 in. We don't really have that many more picks. 2 of them are going to be running backs, so we only have 1 more wide receiver. Who cares at that point if you're like reaching for those picks, right? I want those 2. Let's attack running back at this point. And then we'll circle back. Maybe our last pick will be a high upside wide receiver. So let's double dip at the running back position. Who are players that we would like? Gainwell, they basically said that locks to make the roster are DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Gainwell. They did not say Rashad Penny. This is just beat reporters, but I guess the point is Gainwell, Swift, locked in. They're going to have very good roles in this offense, and then it's going to depend on health and production, really, what Penny does. And if Gainwell's locked in, if they really like him this season, he's just someone that maybe we can kind of flip in, especially in a full PPR league, flip into that flex, flip into that running back 2 spot when we need it. I just think we should draft him with this pick. And then we should probably just pick up a rookie. Who's a rookie that has upside? Tyjae Spears, if Derrick Henry gets injured. Israel, I always say his last name wrong. I always say Abanaconda. I know that's wrong, but whatever. Is he on the Jets if Breece Hall is just like not 100% to start the year? Nope, we want to show more. Chase Brown potential if, there was some sort of suspension for Joe Mixon, or if they just wanted to shift more workload over to Chase Brown. If you wanted to go pure upside, I don't think he'd even be showing up in here, but it's Deneric Prince, I think is his name, if you wanted to shoot for that upside on Kansas City. Deuce Vaughn potential, but that's probably more weekly potential and not for like a full season. If you really believe in Sean Tucker taking over in Tampa Bay, maybe you believe in, I'm sure he's still on the board, I don't see him, but Ty Chandler in Minnesota could be the backup there. So a lot of options with this pick. I think the best one to take is probably Tyjae Spears. Has a clear path to Derrick Henry gets hurt, he's a feature back. And he's a very, very good running back. I love Tyjae Spears in the pre-draft process. I was hoping he'd go to a team where he actually could be the lead running back or have a chance to it. He's obviously not overtaking Derrick Henry, but hey, this offense is built off of like a lead running back being very, very productive, and Tyjae Spears is by far their number 2. Upside, definitely upside if there's an injury there. Okay, we will end this draft with high upside at wide receiver, and then a random defense. Probably end up doing the Saints as we always do because of their schedule. Season-long upside. Not easy. I do actually think DPJ. I don't think it would be a bad pick. Like I think they're just going to run a ton of 5 wide receivers. That's 5 wide, and putting like Njoku out there. Maybe a running back was out there, but like he's definitely the 3rd best wide receiver. He's having a great camp, so not bad if we want to just go all in on Cleveland there. Shaheed, but I don't know that season long upside. I feel like it's more weekly. Allen Robinson a little bit, but that's just fine. Not much, to be honest. Jaden Reed would probably be a good pick if he can separate in Green Bay, but we already have Dobbs, so we wouldn't really want to do that. Yeah, why don't we go with DPJ? That probably is the best pick. And hey, if we're wrong on Elijah Moore, we didn't spend that much draft capital on him. And then if we're wrong, it's probably because DPJ did really good. Defense, again, streaming option. Let's go Saints. So this will load. We will get a team grade we don't care about. And then, whoa, 93. Now we do care about it. No, just kidding. We don't care about that. There it is for all of you. Here's our lineup. Deshaun Watson, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Drake London, Chris Godwin, Mark Andrews, Cam Akers, and the Saints, and a really, really solid bench. Burks, Elijah Moore, Romeo Dobbs, Michael Gallup, Kenneth Gainwell, Tyjae Spears, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. So that'll do it for this week's Mock Draft Monday. No live stream tomorrow night. I'll be back Wednesday to talk about redraft league early round draft strategy, and then Thursday for a player breakdown. If you have one you want to see, put it in the comment section below. That, my friends, is the end of this one. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, how about hitting the like button? How about subscribing to the channel if you're new here? Thanks for watching.